It's time for the Terry Sullivan Show. Today's guest from Awesome Insurance, Alex Awesome. And now the man who promised me a little more money if I just say something nice about him. Yeah, right. Here's Terry Sullivan.
I never promised that.
I know.
You get paid more than you're worth now. Listen, I don't mind $25 a session, but I'm not doing 26.
Well, you know the difference between a musician and a large pizza. A large pizza can feed a family of 4.
What was that thing you said one time? You said, I pay you well, I pay you?
Yeah.
Well, I pay you.
He pays me well, he pays me.
Alex, it's good to have you.
Good to have you. Good to have me,
Yeah.
actually. Thank you very much for
Yeah.
asking me to join you.
Well, my guest today is Alex Awesome, and yeah, that's actually your last name. But we're going to get into how that translates. I'm so excited that you're here.
I appreciate it.
So much respect for you and all that you're doing in Lewisville and Old Town, and you and Henry together. We're going to get into that relationship, although he couldn't be here, probably best because you would never get to say a word.
That's true. That's true. He's a good talker, actually.
Great businessman.
Yes,
both
he is
of
a
you.
good guy.
Both of you are.
I appreciate it.
Alex, you are originally. Let's get into some of your past. Okay, we're going to get into the stuff they'll come and take you away for. So,
Yes, sir.
Alex, you are originally from Persia.
Yes. I born in there back in, my birthday is December 16, 1952. So I just turned 70 a couple of weeks ago. And I born in the capital city of Tehran at the time, to a small average family. Got 4 sisters and 1 brother in my family. But that's a long time ago.
Now, do they still live in Persia?
There is one of my sisters actually living in Plano right here, close to me with her husband and the kids. One of my sisters married about 40 years ago with a doctor living in Dubai. And there is 2 other sisters and the brother still with my mom, of course. It's going back and forth. They are still in Iran. They are doing okay.
Yeah.
Apparently they are kind of away from the most of the, these demonstration and stuff normally happens in the special sections. And there are certain sections that they are away from it. That's like a green zone in Baghdad, in the Iraqi, that people are kind of a little bit wealthier and they don't deal with a whole bunch of stuff.
Alex, when you see the media and how they spin the demonstrations and all the things still going on over there in Iran and Iraq, are we seeing the actuality of what's going on?
Yeah, it is actually, you don't see an exact thing. It is much worse. It is much, much worse. And it is way overdue, all these things. The people suffered for so long. And I think it's, the last time that happened, they were talking about the Shah, he's a dictator and, killing people. It wasn't really that true. I think the whole, after the revolution, they could find about 13 or 14 people dead. They killed so far they say about 517 people. It is probably much more than that. And this time the people I think they have to pay the real price in order to get their life back.
Is it possible?
It is always possible. There is, there is a will and the people get together and be frustrated from the corruption and the lies and all those things, everything is possible.
But how do you do that, Alex? I mean, in America, we live in America, to even think about a revolution big enough to where it makes a difference in our government and how our government treats the American people, it's hard to even...
Yeah, it is, because the lifestyle is different, because the people here, they don't get that much suffocated. Maybe mentally, you know, they be under pressure and they feel that the government doing something wrong, that or something that they don't like. I don't say this is doing wrong, but the fact is that always, you see, there is no perfect deal. There is no perfect government. There is no perfect society. So we have to compare. So you don't want to compare the United States with Iran or Iraq, but who do you want to? You want to compare it with Switzerland? You want to compare it with England or the France? Those people want to come and live over here. I have seen a French person that was for the work over here for 2 years when they were living. They were crying. Him and his wife, actually, they were crying for leaving United States.
Right.
Everybody wants to come here because in comparison, we got freedom, we got better lifestyle, we can talk and we don't have to be afraid of a whole bunch of stuff. Now, you always can find something wrong.
Sure.
And complain about it. But at the end of the day, we are living in the best place in the world. Now, I'm saying all these things because you got to be American because you were lucky. I earned to be American. And as you probably know, I left my country. First time I got over here, I was 21 years old, back in 1973.
Alex, you were, tell me what part France played in your life.
The France, I just wanted to be born in there. No, I'm just kidding. I went to Paris and those things, but that was just a trip. I'm born in Iran, in Tehran, so.
But now let's go back to when you were in your 20s. Now
Yes, sir.
you joined the military. Did you have to join the military? I mean, you know,
Yeah,
like,
you had to. We had the draft at the time, 2 years, but that's after you finish the college. If you finish after diploma, you want to go to work, you have to go to. You've been a soldier, but if you go through the college, you are going to be an officer. It's for 2 years on the draft. You get the basic training, so you'll be ready. We used to have it in United States before Vietnam Wars, and they demolished it.
Right,
And
right.
So that was the draft that we had. Now, when I joined the military, for being a Navy pilot, automatically that part was gone. And I wanted to be a pilot. I was dreaming about. I never could imagine I can make it, but because the country was. The improvement was fascinating. They were so fast, you know, from the having, you know, the donkeys in the street. Suddenly, you have a Mercedes in the street. That's the difference. It happened within 6-7 years. And Henry, we were talking with him. His father was in military, and he said that they were carrying the radio equipments by the horse and the donkeys. And 16 years later, he was flying a helicopter. I mean, this is how fast the situation changed. So,
but they sent you, when you joined the military, they sent you to San Antonio to train.
well, the reason is we didn't have we were very close ally of the United States. We get exact the same training that the officers of the United States was getting. That was a time, if you cannot remember probably, in the 1970s, the Shah increased the price of the oil. And when I say increase it, they increased it to $23 a barrel from the couple dollars a barrel. So it wasn't the 70 or 80 bucks. And that created huge income. And of course, United States was one of the importers and didn't want to pay the price. And so in the sub deal, they said, okay, we are going to spend it over here. And that's what they did. They were buying airplanes, you know, the all military hardwares, and they sent us, at the time they were paying $1 million per pilot for the training over here. It was about 2 years training. So it was a win-win situation. And they sent us over here. First, we got the best training in the world. That's the U.S. pilot training is the best. I mean, there is so many bests we got in this country that you can't see it because you grow with it. You see it as a gradual, but from outside you can see the difference. And so we came over here and they paid for it, and they were paying a good money to us from home too. They were paying almost $1,000 a month at the time, back in 1973.
A lot of money.
That was everybody thinking that I have a oil well or something back home. So we had fun. We had doing the best. That's like a football player. You do what you like, and you make your good money. You can have party and spend money. So that was a blast for that 2.5 years that we were here.
Now, at this time, were you and Henry friends at this time?
Well, actually, Henry is 2 years senior. He went through the Army college and Army school. It's something.
He's from Persia as well.
Yes, he is.
So we keep talking about Henry, and Henry's not here. He was going to be here, but he couldn't be here. We keep talking about Henry, but what's important about that is you and Henry go back
47 years.
Okay.
That's 47 years that we are close.
Yeah.
Because in 1973, he was already in the military for a couple of years. When he was a lieutenant JV, I was an ensign, so I was always a couple of years behind him. And he got a training for the helicopter in the Alabama, actually. He got trained over there in the Army helicopter flight training. We were in the Navy, and we always pick on the Army people who said we are not Navy. And in the 1976, there was a short 4 months training in Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island, actually. That's officer training, for the Navy officer training, they call it, if I'm not mistaken, the name of it. And they sent them over there because they were Army officers for that 4 month short training to understand the Navy, and we were going there to be an officer. So and at the time he just had his second child in the Newport, Rhode Island, and when we were coming back, he started abusing me, and I was carrying his child all the way to Iran, the airport for him. But I know him since 1986. We got really close from that date.
And now you live here in Old Town together, next door to each other. It's a fascinating story.
This is another nice story. He is a developer. I'm an insurance agent. I had an agency actually since 1986. I joined the Farmers initially, and after that I went independent about 5-6 years ago. But he was in construction, and he's a nice size construction. He was just building, 100, 200 houses, something like that. And we were talking about it, and I was saying that we need to get closer to each other. And I hate driving from home to office, even though I was living in Plano and my office was 6 months away. Still, it was taking about 30 minutes, 25 minutes. So I want to live and work that I have a home and office together.
Wait a minute, you were flying to your office?
No. Over here, I'm talking about the Plano.
I got you.
Driving.
Yeah.
It was the traffic was so horrible in the Preston Road. So I was talking. I want to live on top of my office, like an old time, and over here, the people living on top of their store. And he said, "Well, actually, I'm building a building over here." And I said, "Well, I'm going to move there." And that's what, when he was building this building, we were planning for it. We were drinking and talking. I said, I want my office. I want to have a kitchen in my office. I want to entertain my friends. I want to have
it's a wonderful kitchen.
It is good, thank you. So I got my office downstairs. My home is the second floor. It is a nice size, almost 3,000 square foot.
But your whole family, your daughter Ashley lives there.
On the third floor, got a house for her. Sammy's office is next to my office.
Your grandbaby lives there?
Yes, everything. And that was my plan. But he made it happen.
Yeah.
And so we sold our house and came over here, bought this one. And he said, well, we are going to go to Denton Airport for flying. He loves to fly. Actually, he taught me how to fly a helicopter. So what happened that he built his house over here to be close to me. And now we are technically self-sufficient. I have my drinking buddy. I have my family. I got my airplane, so I don't need anything else.
You got your German Shepherd.
I got my German Shepherd.
You got it all. Now, he flies planes and helicopters, and you do the same.
Yes. What happened that in Navy, you had to fly two airplanes before you get to the helicopter. But him, he loves flying, and he's very good in flying, especially helicopter. He got over 7,000 hours. He stopped counting the hours after 7,000.
Yeah.
I have about 2,500, 2,800, something like that. I don't have that much flight hours.
Yeah. So let's talk about how you got from Persia to here. Let's talk about that, because you were in the military. You came over to San Antonio. You trained. You went back, and your position in the military, where you were in transportation.
Yeah, I was actually we were in the Navy, so I was they call it the operation officer in my squadron, and I was scheduling. I say who is going to fly with what, where they're going to go, and see what after revolution. I couldn't stand these people, and not me, most of us. But
now, when you talk about the revolution, the Shah was in power.
Yeah, Shah was over power, and this Khomeini deal came in, and the problem was the people, especially like my parents, they're still religious people, and when Khomeini came, they thought that's a religious person. That's like similar to Pope for them, they come over there. So he's not going to do anything wrong. So, and for the kids like me, you can fight with the other people, but you cannot fight with your family. You cannot fight with your father, mother, their beliefs. So I knew I had to leave, but right at that time, the war happened between Iran and Iraq, which took almost 10 years. And we were getting involved in a war. And now it is defending their country. It was nothing to do with the government and stuff like that, until right about August of 1981, a friend of mine who was enlisted actually, and drinking helped me a lot in my life, I tell you. That drinking buddy of mine came and he got drunk and said,
by the way, we're not condoning being a drunk. Just so
no. But it is good if you can handle it.
Yeah. But over in those countries, drinking is a part of life.
It was. It is. There is not much over here. You can go a couple hours and skiing. You can go a couple hours and swimming. Over there, at the time, there wasn't that much facility.
Yeah.
You can't not go shooting. I mean, I was an officer. I couldn't have a handgun. I mean, you could, but it takes the red tape was so hard. You just don't even think about it.
Yeah.
So
you drink with your buddies.
Yeah, that's drinking and partying, playing cards and stuff like that is very common.
Yeah.
And I was drinking with this guy. He said, "They are coming after you." I said, "Why?" He said, "Because you're drinking." I said, "That's not. You can't kill somebody because drinking. I'm killing myself. I don't need any help." So, what happened but he was serious. So
they were coming after you for drinking.
Yeah, because I drank in one of these holy cities, apparently, and they find out. It took them a while to find out, but when they find out, they normally try to make a sample. The example out of some situation. So, and I was a pilot. Even if they were not jailing me and just kicked me out of the Navy, I couldn't do anything.
Yeah, and you were making good money.
I didn't know I can sell insurance at the time. So I thought I need to leave.
So you're 22, 23 years old.
I was 28 at the time, 27, 28. I was about 6, 7 years into the military, and. I talked with a friend of mine, and they said, "Yeah, let's go." So we planned to escape.
Wait a minute. He said, "Let's go," as in leave the country.
Yes. Because,
so you started planning.
Yeah, I started planning, and the way it works, we were stationed in Tehran. The Navy station is all in south of the Iran and in the Persian Gulf, and the one in the far southeast was the Chabahar. It is a big city now, but at the time it was nothing there. So we had a small base over there with swapping the personnel, taking some officers and family, a couple of soldiers over there, and we going over there for that swap. I just didn't land over there, and we turned toward the south, going to the Oman, which is a small country in the south of Persian Gulf, actually in the Arabian Sea side, next to the Yemen, south of the Saudi Arabia. And we were thinking, we didn't know what's going to happen to us, but we think as soon as we escape, you know, there are going to be people over there from the old, you know, military, Iranian military. They are going to take care of us, and you know, we are going to join them and fight back and come. That was the plan at the time.
Right.
We were just none of them was the fact. So when we got there, it took a while, about 3-4 hours, until technically we did the forced landing over there. I have the shortest landing with that airplane. The F-27 is the twin-engine turboprop airplane, and I had the shortest landing record of it myself because didn't have much room to do that.
So in
Sorry.
the plane, you and
my buddy was he's a pilot too, and we had 10 passengers.
now the passengers, did they think they were going to the grocery store and they ended up in America?
No, they find as soon as we went to over the water, because we normally don't go over the water, we are over the land. From they knew that something is wrong, but
You were taking the scenic route.
yeah, they didn't have much saying though, because as
Wait a minute. So these are passengers. You're defecting,
yes,
and your friend defecting, but you have to use the passengers as a cover.
no,
as-
because we were taking them over there, so we just didn't take them where they wanted to go. And
did they say yes or
no?
wait a minute?
Well, a couple of them actually they gave us a high five. A couple of those military people, but the wife and kids are of course afraid, and
It was hard over there at this
some
time.
of them are afraid of the government because they knew they were going to come back, so they cannot be too rowdy. But
Nobody knows during those days. When you talk about the military defecting, but nobody really knows how hard it was in that land back in that day.
well, the fact is that the mental anguish of the dealing with the incompetent and the corrupt people that try to force their idea is it builds up.
Yeah.
You think you can handle it. If I come tomorrow and say that you cannot put butter in your barbecue, it doesn't sound that bad. The butter is healthy. It's not that healthy, you know, to put it in your stuff. But if I start forcing you, say if you do that now, I'm going to put you in a jail. No, it is a different story.
Yeah.
And those little bitty things that in the start of the changing of the power wasn't that big a deal, start building up. And the country wasn't in really bad shape from the point of the, you know, eating, or the only thing they said, you cannot drink. The first they say you can't. After that they say, if you we are going to whip you. The third they say, we are going to shoot you. So suddenly drinking become a
You were in trouble.
Yeah. I've been in trouble all my life. That's okay.
So
But-
you're flying over the water. Where are you heading?
It's going to the Oman. That's the Sib airport is the capital city of this country, a small country. It's an international airport. The smart thing that we did, we switched to the international frequency on the radios. So we were talking to the tower on every airplane in the neighborhood was hearing us. So they knew a Navy airplane escaped and they're trying to land over there. And that's probably saved our
Yeah.
situation, because they allow us to come back. Still they blocked the runway, but there was a small strip of parking actually that they had a small, like a Cessnas, small airplanes in that airport. I saw that they cleared that section.
Yeah.
So, and that was probably about 1,200, 1,400 feet, something like that. And
Did you say, hold on?
what happened that actually, because it was a street over there, we have on that airplane, we don't have a speed brake. We had the ground fine pitch, they call it. You make the angle of the blades, because it's a turboprop, you make it 0 degrees, so it is like two big plates. So it make a brake, and you cannot select it until you land, because they've got a safety switch on the landing gears. So
Yeah.
you have to be on the ground in order to pick that brake system. So what I did, I pulled the circuit breakers out of that one, So that was not activated, and I did it similar to carrier landing, which we got trained. I never done the personal carrier landing, but they showed us how it is being done. You hang the airplane to the engine, and at the last one, you just cut it, and it just drops. And I knew I'm not going to fly with that airplane again. I really didn't care about the landing gear much.
Yeah, it belonged to the Navy in Persia.
Navy, actually, it was pretty good. They came and fly it back home, a couple of my friends. But picking up that deal, making it a stop in about 10 feet high, it just hit the ground and the stop, I think about 600 feet, something like that. That
The
big airplane.
passengers were going, this guy's nuts.
They were afraid. I mean, you could see it in their face because you're going to be frightened if you sit next to me and I'm driving. So if I do something crazy, you don't have a control, so it's going to be frightening.
When you landed, were you free and clear? I mean,
Oh no, they came. They said they stay in the airplane, and after I saw there is trucks after truck coming about, and there was these soldiers with a machine gun. They came out, surrounded us all around the airplane, and said, those people who want to stay, come out. So that was me and my buddy. They come and they searched us and took us to the jail in the airport, that's August, south of the Persian Gulf. It is hot.
So at this time, are you thinking, well, it was a good try?
Yeah, I didn't know what's going to happen, but I was pissed because it was hot and I was already through the whole day work, and they start cussing and screaming and saying, what the hell, you want to give us back, you want to shoot us, we'll do it. What the hell is this? So they come us and took us to the small office, said, shut up, there was air conditioning.
Were you scared at all?
No. As I said, if you don't afraid of dying, you don't get scared. Nothing is scary. You're going to get excited. You're going to get, you get a rush, but you don't get scared. The deal is that when we were doing it.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm listening to this story, and I'm scared.
No, you're not. You're not. No, the deal is that, actually, I was talking the same story. It is a little bit longer if you go to detail. Like I was talking to another friend of mine who just met about a year ago. And at the end I said, look, you're saying this story and laughing. Everybody should cry for what you went through.
Well, it's an amazing story. I mean, for me I was excited about the interview because I knew you defected from Persia to America, and
you didn't have the detail.
Well, it's an interesting story,
Yeah, I appreciate
that you lived through it all. And this is what we're going to do, Alex, because there's a lot more that we need to talk about that we haven't talked about. So what we're going to do is we're going to close this episode out.
Yes, sir.
And then we're going to come right back and do another episode with you to finish the story of you defecting from Persia to the United States.
I appreciate it. I'll be glad to say so. At least the people know it is not easy to be American.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about. That we're going to close this section out right now. Then we're going to come right back and we're going to make another episode and talk further. Terry, take us, buddy.